There is an island in Florida with only 84 residents, but it has its own private police force and a 24/7 armed boat patrol. This is the Billionaire Bunker, and you're not allowed in. Look at this satellite image. Miami. Zoom closer. Past the glittering coastline, past the yacht-filled marinas. There. See that tiny kidney bean shape floating in Biscayne Bay? That's Indian Creek Island. 300 acres, 41 homes, 84 people, and its own 16-person army to keep you out. This isn't a neighborhood, this is a fortress, and in this video, we're going inside. But before we do, if you're enjoying this, hit that like button. It actually helps more than you think. And subscribe, because I've got more wild geography content coming that you won't want to miss. Let's start with what makes this place physically impossible to reach. Indian Creek isn't natural. It's a man-made barrier island, dredged from Biscayne Bay back in 1928 by a group of Midwestern businessmen who wanted their own private paradise. They carved it out of mangrove swamps, they shaped it deliberately. And that intentional geography is the first layer of defense. Because here's the thing, there's only one way onto this island by land. One bridge, one road, one checkpoint. 91st Street connects Indian Creek to Miami Beach, and at the end of that bridge sits a guardhouse. Not a friendly neighborhood gate, a full security checkpoint with armed guards who check your ID, verify your name is on the list, and if it's not, your car stops there. You cannot tour this island. You cannot drive by to look. You cannot even get out of your car if somehow you make it through. This is the kind of place where real estate agents have to get clearance days in advance just to show a property, and even then, they're not allowed to photograph the homes. But the bridge is just the beginning. This is where it gets incredible. Indian Creek Village isn't just a gated community. It's an actual incorporated village with its own municipal government. It was officially incorporated in 1939, and that means it has its own laws, its own mayor, its own public services, and its own police department. Let me put this in perspective. Miami has approximately one police officer for every 400 residents. Indian Creek has one officer for every 5 residents. 16 sworn officers for 84 people. That's not security. That's a private army with badges. The Indian Creek Village Police Department patrols 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They drive around the single road that circles the island. They monitor every gate. They check every unfamiliar face. They are constantly, relentlessly present. But here's what makes this truly next level. The police don't just patrol on land, they have their own marine unit. An armed boat that circles the island continuously, day and night, monitoring the waters of Biscayne Bay. This is reportedly the only full-time, 24/7 waterborne police patrol in the entire Miami area. The island is surrounded by water on all sides. That water is the moat. And that boat is the patrol that makes sure the moat stays secure. Privacy, price, and a private army. Those are the 3 pillars of Indian Creek. But who actually lives here? Who pays for this level of security? This level. So the island is a fortress. But the reason it needs to be is because of who lives inside. And the list of residents is absolutely unbelievable. The island's newest and most high-profile resident is Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, one of the richest people on the planet. And he didn't just buy one house on Indian Creek, he bought 3. In 2023 and 2024, Bezos went on a buying spree. First, he bought the property at 11 Indian Creek Island Road for $68 million. Then, he bought the house next door, number 12, for $79 million. Then, in 2024, he bought a third property at 28 Indian Creek Island Road for $90 million. Do the math. That's $237 million for 3 houses on one island. And here's the kicker. He's planning to tear down 2 of them. He's going to demolish 2 mega mansions and live in the third one, while construction crews build him a brand new compound spanning multiple lots. That's how the ultra-wealthy think about real estate. Houses are just building blocks. But Bezos isn't alone. He joins a lineup of people who represent the absolute peak of wealth, power, and fame. Tom Brady, 7-time Super Bowl champion, arguably the greatest football player of all time. He bought a $17 million lot on Indian Creek in 2020 and is currently building what's being called an eco-mansion, complete with a gym, pool, sports court, and every luxury amenity you can imagine. Right down the street from Brady are Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner, the daughter of President Donald Trump and his former White House advisor. They bought their estate for $24 million in 2021. It was considered a fixer-upper. By Indian Creek standards, that means it only had 8 bedrooms. They've since renovated it extensively. And here's a fun detail. Jared Kushner actually serves on the Indian Creek Village Council. He's not just a resident, he's part of the government. Then there's Carl Icahn, legendary activist investor, billionaire. He's been on the island since 1997 when he bought his mansion through a foreclosure for $7.5 million. Today, it's worth exponentially more. Julio Iglesias, the Spanish singer and international superstar. He's been a resident since the late 1970s. He owns multiple properties on the island and once had a plot listed for $150 million. And recently, DJ and music producer David Guetta bought a compound for $69 million. Oh, and one more thing. Adriana Lima, the Brazilian supermodel, used to live here. She sold her mansion for $40 million. Even for a supermodel, apparently Indian Creek gets expensive. This is the caliber of resident we're talking about. These aren't just rich people. These are people who have reshaped industries, won championships, run countries, and dominated global culture. And they've all chosen to live on this one, tiny 300-acre island. But why? What makes Indian Creek worth this kind of money? Okay, so it's a fortress full of billionaires. But why this island? Why not just a massive estate in the hills of Los Angeles? Or a penthouse in Manhattan? What's so special about this specific location? The answer comes down to 3 things: privacy, proximity, and price. Well, actually, price is kind of insane, but let's break it down. Let's start with the price because it's genuinely difficult to comprehend. The title of this video mentions $100 million. That's not clickbait. That's real. In 2025, a vacant lot on Indian Creek at 9 Indian Creek Island Road sold for $110 million. Let me repeat that. An empty patch of land. No house, just dirt, grass, and waterfront access. $110 million. The lot was originally listed for $200 million, so in a weird way, the buyer got a deal. It's 1.8 acres with 200 feet of Biscayne Bay frontage. And it sits right next to Jeff Bezos' properties. There was speculation that Bezos himself was the buyer, using the same real estate agent and legal team he used for his previous purchases. But officially, the buyer is listed as an international finance executive. Still, $110 million. For land. That's just under the record for the most expensive single-family home sale in Miami-Dade County, which was around $120 million. Indian Creek isn't just expensive, it's record-breaking expensive. But here's the thing. If you want to live on this island, you're not buying a house. You're buying access to a lifestyle that cannot be replicated anywhere else. And that lifestyle is built around one thing: the Indian Creek Country Club. Pull up the satellite image again. Look at the island. You'll notice something immediately. The 41 homes don't fill the island. They form a ring around the perimeter, each one with direct waterfront views of Biscayne Bay or the inlet. And in the center of the island is a massive, sprawling golf course. The Indian Creek Country Club takes up more than 80% of the island. It's an 18-hole championship course designed by legendary architect William Flynn in 1930 and recently renovated by Andrew Green in 2022. It's considered one of the best-conditioned golf courses in America. Some say it's groomed better than Augusta National. The clubhouse is an architectural masterpiece, Italianate style. Sweeping terraces, loggias overlooking the bay, a swimming pool, spa, fitness center, massage rooms, marina, the works. But here's the secret. The country club isn't open to the public. It's not even open to all residents. It has about 300 members, and only 8 or 9 of the island's 41 homeowners are actually members. The rest of the members come from outside the island, but they still have to be invited, vetted, and approved. This is the ultimate exclusive amenity. Imagine living in a place where your backyard is a world-class golf course and country club that almost nobody else can access. And then there's proximity. Indian Creek is located about 15 miles from downtown Miami. It's a 20-minute drive to Miami Beach. It's minutes from the luxury shopping at Bal Harbour. You're in one of the most vibrant international cities in the world, with world-class dining, culture, and nightlife. But you live on an island that feels like it's in the middle of nowhere. You get the energy of Miami and the isolation of a private resort. That combination is nearly impossible to find anywhere else. And then there's the privacy. This is what it all comes down to. The people who live on Indian Creek are some of the most recognizable, most powerful, most scrutinized people on Earth. They can't walk down the street without being photographed. They can't go to a restaurant without being noticed. Their lives are public, whether they want them to be or not. Indian Creek offers them something money usually can't buy: anonymity, the ability to step outside without security, to let their kids play in the yard, to go for a walk without paparazzi, to simply exist without being watched. One of the police officers who patrols the island said in an interview that the residents are surprisingly down to earth. He said most of them are pleasant, normal people who just happen to be billionaires or famous. And the reason they can be normal here is because the island allows them to let their guard down. The private police force isn't just about keeping intruders out. It's about creating a bubble where the ultra-wealthy can live like regular people. And that's what they're paying for. Not just a mansion, not just a golf course, but the psychological freedom to feel safe. But here's where the story gets complicated. Indian Creek is beautiful. It's exclusive. It's secure. But it's also a symbol of something much larger and much more uncomfortable. It's a symbol of the growing divide between the ultra-wealthy and everyone else. Think about it. While most Americans are struggling with rising housing costs, stagnant wages, and economic uncertainty, there's an island in Florida where people are paying $100 million for an empty lot, where 16 police officers are employed to protect 84 people, where privacy is so valuable that it requires a private army and a literal moat. A security expert told Business Insider that security has become one of the biggest concerns for billionaires today. Not because crime is up, but because the wealth gap has never been wider. There's never been more talk about the divide between the haves and the have-nots. And the ultra-wealthy know it. They feel it. And places like Indian Creek are their response. Build higher walls, hire more security, retreat into gated enclaves where the outside world can't reach them. Indian Creek is the most extreme example, but it's part of a larger trend. More and more wealthy people are moving into what are called secured communities. Private islands, gated developments, bunkers, both literal and metaphorical. And the irony is that the more they isolate themselves, the more they reinforce the very divide that makes them feel unsafe in the first place. I'm not saying the residents of Indian Creek are bad people. Most of them probably aren't. They're just people who have succeeded wildly and want to protect themselves and their families. That's human. That's understandable. But Indian Creek is also a reminder that in America today, if you have enough money, you can buy your own police force. You can buy your own government. You can buy an entire island and turn it into a private nation. And for everyone else, the gates stay closed. So what is Indian Creek really? It's not just a collection of mansions. It's not just a country club. It's a purpose-built geographical fortress. A 300-acre safe room for people who can buy anything and have decided that the one thing they want most is to be left alone. It's a place where the world's most powerful people go to escape the world. Where Jeff Bezos can land his helicopter, take a boat to his compound, and disappear behind a wall of water, gates, and armed guards. Where Tom Brady can build his dream home without fans showing up at his door. Where Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner can raise their kids away from the cameras. It's a modern-day castle. Except the moat is Biscayne Bay, The drawbridge is a guarded checkpoint, and the knights are police officers with boats and badges. And you? You're not allowed in. Not unless your name is on the list. Not unless you're part of the 1% of the 1%. Indian Creek is the ultimate manifestation of the American dream, if the American dream is about wealth and exclusivity. But it's also a reminder that for every billionaire bunker, there are millions of people who will never see the inside of a place like this, who will never know what it feels like to have that much security, that much privacy, that much space. So here's the question: is Indian Creek aspirational or dystopian? Is it a symbol of success or a symbol of inequality? Is it the pinnacle of the American dream or a sign that the dream has been bought out? I honestly can't decide.